Are you looking for a space where you will learn to improve your mental strength, emotional health, and heal your insecurities from the inside out? Take the first step to living a more meaningful life with the Better Me with Body by Bree podcast. I'm your host, Bree. I'm a certified personal trainer, entrepreneur, and mother of 3. I've helped empower thousands of women to take action through fitness, nutrition, meditation, personal development, and aligning thoughts with action. This podcast is for those who are ready to feel inspired and motivated to live a more purposeful life. Let's grow together.
Today is going to be filling for both your heart, soul, and mind because we are here with Brianna Cox from Body by Bree, who is all about bringing women the results they want, not only from the outside, but from the inside. She is a fitness expert. She has her own product line. She is an amazing woman with a heart of gold. And I'm so excited you're here today, Bree. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here in my closet because I have 3 small kids and this is the only quiet place that I can find.
Well, I know that life. I was just, my son, we're in quarantine right now. We have COVID and he was doing his gym homework and just pounding away on the treadmill. And I'm like, buddy, you gotta go somewhere else.
Oh,
so.
No. I know how it is. How are you feeling? You have COVID. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it's been up and down. It's really interesting because it hits you in different intervals, and navigating my own children's health has been challenging because sometimes they have symptoms they can't explain, or they forget to drink or eat water. They forget to eat food. And so managing what they need on top of my own needs, when mom's sick, You don't really get a full time to be sick. You kind of have to be on top of your game. So it's been interesting.
That's the hardest part when you're sick. You still have to be a mom.
That's right. Yeah. And get your stuff done, right? We were just talking about having computer issues today, hiding in our closets. We're going to really get into that nitty gritty. So Bree, I want to ask you, you have built such an incredible business. And I want to start at the beginning. What gave you the fascination and the passion for fitness, wellness, and holistic health?
Well, honestly, ever since I was little, I remember in 6th grade, I would wake up before school and I would work out to videotapes in my basement. I just loved it. I loved it so much. And it's always been my passion. Even when I was 18 years old, that's what I did all through college was personal training. And it's just something I absolutely love. And then my mom actually does, I don't know if you know what craniosacral therapy is, but
I do. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So she's a craniosacral therapist. So my whole life growing up was all the mindfulness, meditation, positive energy, your vibration. And I was raised with that. And so that's just who I am. And so naturally, when I train people, I teach them about that. And then I got certified to be a mindfulness meditation teacher as well, because I wanted to bring that aspect in with all of my training. So I think that's kind of my background. It's just always been who I am. So it's easy for me to talk about it.
And you can see that. I mean, everything that you share, I feel like is glowing from the inside out. You can tell that you love what you're doing and that you genuinely love helping people. It's so wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Course. I do. I really love it. Adam was like, you don't have to work. You could, you don't have to do this. Sometimes when I get stressed, mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I do. This is my calling. If I didn't get paid, I would still do it because it brings me so much joy. So.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, take me to the beginning of when you started this fitness journey, as far as turning it into your own brand and then taking it to the next level. You've really done a lot of things, from personal coaching, an app that you developed, and then your own products. Take me back to the beginning. Where did that happen and how did it progress from there?
Well, it's funny because I think people underestimate, when they see people who have a business and have a supplement line and built a brand, I don't think they realize every single step that I took, I was terrified. Mm. Every single step. From the very beginning, I remember I was living in San Diego and I was training, and then I moved to Victorville. I don't know if you know where Victorville is. It's kind of a rough area. And I had to get my own clients instead of having the gym give me clients. I was terrified. I remember I was crying to Adam. I was like, there's no way I can get my own clients. I'm not a salesman. I'm a trainer, how do they expect me to do this? And then I was like, well, I just got to learn, And so then I learned, and then I was like, excelled at that. So then I'm like, okay, maybe I could teach classes. And then I was terrified and I was crying to Adam, I don't know if I could teach classes. And then I did, and I loved it. And then that's actually where Body by Bree came from. One of the girls was like, this body is from Bree. And I keep getting compliments on it. And then they ended up naming the group fitness class Body by Bree.
Oh, cool.
And then, and then it just kind of stuck. And then I just kind of rolled with it. And so then I trained in gyms for like probably 6 years. And then I was like so burnt out because I had 2 children and they were babies. And I was just so burnt out and if you're a trainer, you understand, like you get so sick of waking up at 5 a.m. and being in a loud, sweaty gym for hours and hours. And you can only make as much money as there are hours in the day. You're capped. And so it was a really frustrating feeling. So that's when I was like, I think I'm going to try to do this online, because I had so many friends in Utah that wanted me to train them, but I didn't live by them anymore. So I remember telling Adam, like, I bet I could get, I'm like, babe, I could probably get like 15 clients on this like app. And I was like, I could totally do that. And we were going, oh my gosh, this is going to be so big. I could get 15 people. And it was so fun to watch it grow. And so anyway, fast forward, I just learned every single year. I learned more and more and more. And I almost quit about 3 times because it got so overwhelming. But one thing, my husband is a businessman. And so he's helped me a lot to kind of like see what I can delegate, things that I don't have to do. And that's when I started hiring a team. And when I hired a team was when I was like, okay, I can grow, I can expand, I can be creative, and I don't have to do it all myself. And that was the biggest like learning step for me. The learning curve was that you can delegate what you're not good at. Like I'm not good at marketing. I'm not good at graphic design. I don't know how to do that stuff, So it's like hire people that are really good at that, and they can help build your brand. And that was my biggest learning lesson, I think. But honestly, every single time I did something, every time I like came out with a new supplement or a new challenge or a new whatever idea, I was terrified. And I had so much self-doubt. And I was like, who do I think I am? Like, who's going to buy this, So I think it's normal to have those thoughts. I always want to normalize that. Like anybody that you look at has those thoughts.
Yeah, I think you're right. There are so many truth bombs you just threw in there with, realizing when you need to hire out, because I think by the time people think it's time for me to hire out, it's already been beyond that point for a while, because we just try to do it all. And then also to have someone in your corner that helps to, balance you out and see the things you can't see. So when you were hiring, what was it? How did you find the people?
I honestly just posted it on Instagram. I was like, I need help. I need a virtual assistant. Like I need help with organization and all this stuff. And so I just got applications through Instagram. That was the first assistant that I hired. And then the second one actually came to me. She was a client and she was like, hey, I have all these ideas. I've gone through the program. I have all these ideas that I think could make the experience so much better. And I loved her ideas. I'm like, you're hired. I hired her on the spot.
Oh, that's awesome. It's especially nice to have someone who already knows your brand and what you're about and has been through the process, because then you know that their vision is the same, or that they can magnify it even more because they've been through it, which sounds like she was there for that.
Exactly. And we've been together for 4 years, my team.
Oh, that's so cool. So are there 3 of you or are there more?
Yeah, there's 3 of us. And then I just recently this year hired a marketing company that kind of helps with like branding and collaborations and things like that. Cause I was finding that was so time consuming to do myself.
Yeah.
So they can kind of reach out to people. And then I have an assistant that helps edit the podcast and produce the podcast. So after I record it, I can just say, here you go, make it look pretty. I don't have time to sit and do that. And I don't know how, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm good at that. So
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's like, my husband always taught me, like, save your energy to be creative, save your energy for things that only you can do.
Yes.
And all the tasks that are draining your energy, that are taking your time, that's what you need to outsource. Like, you need to just do what you're good at. And I know my strengths. I know what I'm good at. Anything I'm not good at, I'll hire someone else that's the best in that.
Yep. I agree with that 100%, because it really does take, you have to only you and I, or whoever is doing their business, you are your face, you are your brand, you are your voice. No one else can replace that. So that's the stuff you really need to focus on for your time and your energy. And we passed over how many kids you have and how long you've been married. So tell us a little bit about that too. How many kids do you have and how long have you been married?
I have 3 kids. I have a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old. Well, she's almost 2. She's a year and a half. And I've been married for 10 years now.
Okay. So you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think those ages that you just listed, in my experience, that is like one of the most physically and time demanding times as a mother. What are your tips for balancing all of it?
Yeah, you know what? For the first year, I had so much mom guilt. I don't know why. I was just like, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be home with my kids all the time. But I had like bad baby blues. I wouldn't say it was depression, but I had bad baby blues because my personality is, I need to be working on something. Like, I need to have a passion that's outside of motherhood. I need to have projects and I need to be mentally stimulated. And I thrive that way. So I found that I'm like, you know what? Quit feeling guilty, because I realized I was a way better, more happier mom when I had projects that I was working on. And my kids, they're happy. Like, they, like they're happy, they're taken care of. Like, I found a really good balance. And so what happened, and you'll find this out, like any women who are starting a business, you'll find your balance, because I did have a year where it was the opposite. I was working too much, and then I wasn't happy anymore. And then I was like, this is taking the joy out of it. I miss being a mom. I need to scale back. And I listened, and I was like, okay, so now I only work 3 days a week. I work on Monday, Wednesday, Friday when the kids are at school. And when they're home, I don't work. I have very clear boundaries. Like, I will work either during nap time, or I'll work at night when they're asleep. But I put my phone away, and I try not to work at all on the days that are my non-working days. And so setting those boundaries is so, so important, and not being afraid to get help. Like, I hired a nanny. I hired a nanny for Monday and Wednesday, so that I could work full days and get everything done I needed to on Monday and Wednesday. I schedule all my appointments, all my calls, all my podcast interviews, everything on those 2 days where the nanny's here and my kids are at school most of the day. And then I don't feel I have that balance. I don't get burnout. I don't feel guilty. Like, my kids, I'm able to still be a mom. And so I think just finding your balance is so important, and not feeling guilty to get help, because I was snapping at my kids. I was so stressed when I was trying to do it without help. And then I felt bad for my kids, because I'm like, it's not their fault. I'm trying to do a conference call and they're yelling, like they're just being kids, Right. So get help, like set clear boundaries. And I had to have that conversation with my assistants too. Like, you need to get a babysitter when you're working, so that I have all of your attention, all of your focus in those hours. And then the rest of the time you can be a mom. But it's like, set aside, I call it time blocking. And that's what has helped so much, is just time blocking. And you are complete. This is also my mindfulness coming in, and my meditation teacher coming in. But when you're scatterbrained and you're trying to mix all your roles at one time, you'll get burnout super fast, and it just kills your creativity. But when you time block and okay, this is my work time, this is my mom time, this is my meditation time, this is my learning time for myself, this is my relaxation time, and you're 100% present, you can get so much more out of those moments. And even with like my kids, I get so much more out of the moments when I have a rule where, like, between 4 and bedtime, I put my phone in my room. I don't touch it. I don't look at it. And it's like so much smoother in my house. Sorry, that was very long. But yes.
Are you kidding? I could listen to you talk all day. I'm just like nodding like, yes, like you're speaking the truth, because I have found that same experience where there have been times where I felt more like I was working too much versus, really striking that balance where you feel like you're invigorated mentally, but you also have that special time with your kids too. So I think you really hit it on the head, and especially with the idea of putting the phone away, because now in this day and age, if your phone is out, you can be working 24/7. Really, there's no barrier. Yeah. Like it's happening always.
Yes. Yes. And like answering DMs, because it's like, oh, I got to be fast at responding, you know? So be like answering DMs. I was on my phone all day long, and it helped. Like it was a wake up call. This is so sad. But honestly, I will throw myself under the bus because I want to reiterate how important it is. But my daughter drew a picture of our family, like a little portrait. And I go, what's that? And she's like, it's your phone. And she drew me holding my phone. And I was like, okay. So that's when I'm like, enough. I need clear boundaries. And I tell my assistants, I don't work between the hours of 4 and bedtime. I'm not here. I will respond after the kids are in bed. And so that's made a huge, huge difference on my family.
Oh, I love that. Well, you're inspiring me because I try to do the same things with time blocking, but I think just actually physically putting it away upstairs, out of sight. So it's not
out of sight.
Yeah. Yep. That's really smart. And I think it probably allows your assistants to do the same healthy parameters for themselves as well, because then it's modeling that behavior that they say, oh, well, if that time is off for her, then I can take that time with my family too, which I think is really healthy.
Yes. I want to encourage them, have family dinner together, do the bedtime stories. I don't want my assistants to get burnt out either. So it's kind of we know, I'm not going to respond until after bedtime. And so we all know that rule,
Yeah, no, that's so smart. So you have this app that you've put together. How did you develop the app? Is it one? I know that there are trainer apps that you can kind of make your own. And I think that's what you did, but tell me more about that and how your program works, because I've done your program. I love it. I love that it's very much not only focused on the outside, but it's very much about making changes on the inside. And that's what makes you and your brand so impactful. So tell us about how your process works and how you integrated that into opening it up to the masses.
Yeah. So the whole reason why I was scared to go online was because I didn't have a system in place to organize my clients. And so I found an app called Trainerize. Trainerize is a trainer app. It's created for online trainers. And I actually did a whole seminar. They asked me to do a conference seminar teaching all of the online trainers that use Trainerize, how to use it better. And so I'm a huge, I couldn't do my business without Trainerize. It's amazing. It's such a great app. So they can kind of white label it for you. Yeah. So, and I'm actually in the process of creating, I'm actually starting a second business. I've never talked about it before, but I'll talk about it now.
Wow. Exclusive. Okay.
Yeah. Exclusive. I'm in the process of starting a second business, helping online trainers how to start and exactly step by step. This is how you start. This is how you create your brand, how you find your niche. Here are the programs I used. Here's the apps I used. Here's the graphic designers I used. Everything. Wow. Step by step, here you go. This is how you become an online trainer. Cause I feel like everyone and their dog is wanting to do this right now. It's crazy. Everyone is wanting to be a fitness influencer. But I am such a proponent of making sure that they have the education behind it, because my biggest pet peeve is that nowadays with Instagram, anyone can be anything and not necessarily have the education or the background to back them up, where this is my craft. This is my life. I've been doing it for 11 years. And so I'm just so passionate about making sure that they have the education and the background to back up what they're saying, so that they're safe and that they have the knowledge. So anyway, I'm creating a whole online training program for online trainers to help them and train them and teach them. So I'm doing that. But anyway, that was a tangent. So the app, the Trainerize app is what I used. And what was your other question?
And then just how you turned it into serving so many people with your approach to holistic as well as physical.
Yeah. So I have always been very passionate about making sure that my clients were healthy from the inside out. I even talk about gut health and your gut microbiome, making sure that you're eating whole foods. Like, I am not a fan of the low fat, sugar-free crap that a lot of macro people get stuck into, because it's not healthy for you. It's not real food. It's chemicals. And then I'm teaching all about mindfulness, and I'm giving them meditations each week. And I have an 8-week program. I do challenges. I do 4 challenges a year, 8-week program challenge, but they can really train with me at any point. But the challenges, they could win money, and it's kind of fun. It's a competition. But in those challenges, every single week, I'm giving them mental health challenges where they can win $100 a week. And it's really for their behavioral change, for their confidence, for their self-love, teaching them how to meditate, teaching them, how to focus on daily mental wins and focus on your input instead of your output. And all of these things that will help build your confidence to where 100% of my clients, when they finish the program, say that they're mentally and emotionally stronger. So that's my biggest, even reading my testimonials, all of my clients are like, that not only are my progress pictures amazing, but what's more important is this changed my life. Like, I got off my anxiety medication. I got off my depression medication. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't weigh myself anymore. I have a better relationship with food. I have more confidence. I have a stronger marriage. Like, that's what I care about. And that's why I work my butt off, is because I love helping people to see that and to see their confidence.
I love that so much. And what's so cool too is I've done your program twice and I've loved it both times. And what I love too is that it's not about having to do a program perfectly, but about integrating healthier behaviors that really make an impact on your life and make you feel like a more confident person, because it's really just taking time to touch base with who you are mentally, as well as taking time for yourself physically. And that was actually something that I was hoping we could talk about, is what are some tips or ways that you found for women to overcome mental blocks that they put in front of their way to going after something that they want? So that if it's like, whether it's physical or mental, how do you help people to overcome taking time for themselves, especially women? So,
yes, the number one tip is you have to believe that you can. That's the number one tip. Like, if I had too much self-doubt or be like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, like, who do I think I am? Like, I can't do this. I would never do it. But then I had my husband, and I would sit and meditate on it too. Like, who am I? Like, what can I accomplish? And I started believing, I am this powerful, like, creative person. I'm not just a mom. Like, I can do this. And once I started realizing that it could be a reality, then that's where it starts. But you have to have that, like, this could be real. Like, this is who I really am. And how you do that is through meditation and mindfulness. And you have to connect with your higher self. I call it your higher self, but it's your subconscious mind, because we're all telling ourselves stories every day. We have a running script in our mind every day, and we don't notice it. It could be, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve that, to eat that. I messed up yesterday. I don't deserve this love. Things that go through our mind every day. And we don't realize it unless we stop and we actually connect. And that's why meditation is so incredible, because that's where I saw myself. I saw my higher self as this powerful, like, it was almost like an alter ego. I was like, that's who I really am. all of this, like these subconscious, like little digs at myself, this is not who I am.
Yes.
That's who I really am. And once I saw myself as that person, I showed up as her. Even if I had to pretend, I was like, you know what? No, I am a boss. I can do this. I can lead a team. I can create a supplement line. I can go market to people. I can do this. And like, I have to honestly give myself a pep talk all the time. But I remember that alter ego that I saw. That is my true self. That's my higher self. And unless you connect with that part of you, you won't ever make it happen. So taking time to find who you really are, what do you really believe? What's your purpose in life? Why are you here? Like what is most important to you? What do you really want? I actually have a little 10-minute meditation on my podcast that's, I call them the 5 soul questions. And it's these questions that you sit and you evaluate. And once you do that, nothing can stop you. Once you realize nothing will get in your way, and you will overcome every obstacle. You will make it work, and you will keep going even when you lose your motivation, because you have such a strong conviction of who you are and what you're here for, that it trumps every other obstacle in your way.
Wow. That sounds incredible. What episode is that? So we can make sure to link it in the show notes.
Well, so my first season, I didn't number the episodes.
Oh, okay.
But second season starts actually today. Starts the second season, and I start numbering them. So it's just called the 5 soul questions.
5 soul questions. Okay, we'll make sure to link to that below. If you're looking for a new way to reach your financial goals, consider a new way of budgeting with Cube Money. I don't know if you're like me, but the place where I lose track with spending is when I'm eating out. Subscriptions I've lost track of, or last-minute Amazon purchases. With Cube Money, you have a digital cash envelope system and a bank account all in one place that keeps your goals in check. How? The app actually allows me to check my balance each time I use my card. It makes it so much easier to say no to things when I think about my big goals front of mind, like our Europe trip that Paul and I are saving up for. Check it out for yourself so you can stick with your goals, living more and stressing less at www.cubemoney.com/Camille. That's Cube spelled Qube. So with the mental check-in, and really, the next question I was going to ask you was, how does someone start with meditation if they feel really uncomfortable with that? But it sounds like that episode is like the perfect place to start.
Yeah. And I even also have an IGTV where I walk you through like, okay, this is the benefits of meditation. Here's how you start. It's called Meditation for Beginners. Because honestly, my mom would talk about meditating all the time. And I'm like, oh yeah, whatever. Like that's for you. I'm a 7. Like I'm just all over the place. I could never do that. I could never just sit in quiet. And, I don't know. It's just, I was super intimidated by it. And then I did a whole 3-day meditation retreat, and my life was changed after that retreat. And it will forever be changed because I saw the power. I saw the power in meditation and mindfulness. And that's when I was like, I need to become a teacher. I need to get this out there. I need to help as many moms as possible. So many women are struggling with anxiety and depression and self-doubt and being, self-conscious, and meditation can help with a lot of that because, like I said, you're connecting with your higher self. Or if you're religious, you're connecting with God, and you're having this amazing connection. And I've gotten all of my ideas. I call them downloads. I've gotten all of my downloads every time I'm meditating.
Oh, I love that so much. I think that social media is a really fascinating part of all of this, because I feel like the amount of anxiety and depression and self-doubt has gone up because 100%. Of social media. And you and I both have been working in social media for years. There's so much good that comes from it. And yet, unless we really get in touch with our mind and our hearts, we won't be able to combat the negative effects. So I love that you're bringing that to the world of really giving us tools for how to connect with that power and how to take a minute to be still, because we live in such a fast-paced world.
Yes. And distraction is honestly, when I'm distracted, I'm anxious. Like if you notice, if you're at a stoplight and you have to pull your phone out and scroll through Instagram at a stoplight, Like that's what we do as a society. We are never just alone with our thoughts, especially as moms. Like we always have chaos all the time, and distraction is what makes you anxious. And so setting aside, it's not even like the comparison game of that's a whole nother beast of social media. It's the fact that our brains are constantly distracted and we're missing the beautiful moments in life. We're missing the conversations with our kids in the car. We're missing, you know, like when my son comes up and gives me a hug, if I'm distracted checking email or checking Instagram, I'm like, oh, thanks, buddy. And he runs off. But if I'm in the moment, I'm like really taking in, this is mindfulness. I'm really taking in that moment. And those little moments of joy throughout the day, or those little moments of connection throughout the day, are what bring true happiness and true joy. And we're missing it because we're so distracted. And that's why we're getting depressed and anxious. Anyway, I could go on forever.
People can't see me, but I'm just nodding my head this whole time. Like everything you're saying, I absolutely agree with 100%. So we had talked about possibly there being more to one step to this of overcoming and reaching out for those goals. Do you have more steps? I don't want to knock them out if we haven't talked about this.
That was the first one. The first one was
mindfulness.
The first one was mindfulness and just seeing your true self, like believing that you can actually do it. And you might even have to fake it till you make it. So that was the first step. The second step is you have to make time for it. You have to that's the time blocking. Like for me, I would just try to work when I could. And I would be like, okay, I'll work during nap times. And then the baby wouldn't nap. And then I'd be behind. Then I'd be up till 2 a.m. working like every night. And so I burnt myself out. Whereas if I time blocked and I was like, okay, my work days are Monday and Wednesday from this time to this time, and this is when I work. Or even if you don't have a business and you're trying to get creative with what business you could do, that is your creative time. That's your time where you're brainstorming and researching and, you know, trying to figure out what it could be. But if you never set aside the time, you'll never figure it out. So I would say step 2 would be setting aside the time, even if you have to get a babysitter. If you need to get a babysitter for 2 hours, do it. If you can't afford to get a babysitter, trade with a friend. Like I had to do that. I couldn't afford to get a babysitter when I first started. And so me and my friend would trade. Every Tuesday and Thursday, we would trade. And I knew that was my time to try to figure out how to start this business. And so it's just setting aside the time and valuing that time. I wouldn't schedule anything in that 2-hour block. It was like a date with myself, you know? So I would say step 2 would be setting aside the time and making sure that you get help if you need it, and asking for that help. And then number 3, I would say would be setting the goals. You have to have a clear vision of where you're going to go. And so I'm a huge believer. I don't know if you've heard of like the law of attraction or The Secret. I am a huge believer in that.
Me too.
Have my visionary boards. I know exactly where I'm going. And I know I know this sounds like, I don't want it to sound cocky, but like, I know that I will get it. It's like, I know deep in my soul that I will accomplish everything on that board, no matter how crazy it sounds. And because I believe in the law of attraction, it's worked for me my entire life. And I actually just did a podcast episode on it, but like, it's a running joke between my friends because they're like, oh, well, Bree's going to manifest it and she'll get it like that. Because I'm like, oh yeah, I want that. I'll manifest that. I'll manifest that to happen in my life. And so I think setting goals, having the vision, using The Secret or the law of attraction to like write everything down, be specific, visualize it, like do your visionary board because you can't get there if you don't know where you're going. So those would be my 3 tips.
I love it. So are you a fan of The Miracle Morning? Have you read that book?
Yes, I love it.
And Atomic Habits?
Yep. I love Atomic Habits.
Okay. Because I'm right in line with you. Because I do think that there is so much power that comes when we decide what it is that we want. And especially when we're seeking to do good in the world and that you can use that power, you know, your truest self, or in my case, I believe in God. I believe that God has that destiny and he wants to bless you. He wants you to do the things that you're meant to do with the gifts that you have. So I'm curious, with your visionary board or your vision board, what are the things that you're reaching for right now that have in the past seemed out of touch, or maybe something that you had on your vision board that you now have accomplished? What are some of those that you've been a part of that you've seen that transformation happen?
I think, well, I remember when like we were talking about starting a supplement line, and I was like, no way. There's so many people that have supplement lines. Like, I'm not going to be successful at that. I don't even want to take that on. That's so much work. Like, how am I going to do that? And then I was like, you know what? Put it on the visionary board. Like, put it on there and just see what happens. And now, like the supplement line is incredible. It's way better than I ever thought possible, because I truly believed that there was a missing piece with clean supplements. I was like, we're missing it. Like, we're doing more harm than good with a lot of the supplements that we're taking in, with all the like artificial colors and sweeteners and everything we're putting in that's so bad for our gut health. I'm like, I need to create something better. And that was a really scary thing for me, but I put it on my vision board and I visualized me doing it and it being successful, and it happened. And it was really cool for me. Or even just this whole brand idea. Like, when I first started, I was terrified, and I was like, oh, this will just be a hobby. I'll train 20 people on the side. I'm just a mom. And then I was like, no, I actually had visualized me. Adam asked me, like, what is your dream job? And I said, teaching people fitness and helping and mindfulness and helping women and traveling the world doing it. And that's what I do. It's exactly like what I do is even better than I could have ever imagined. I tell Adam every night, like, I'm living my dream. Like, this is better than I could have ever imagined. And I kind of have a funny story. I'll be fast. Sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, you're great.
This is the law of attraction. Okay. So, and this is how much I believe in it. Okay. So I had done a shoot with iFit. I don't know if you know iFit or Nordic Track. So I'm one of their trainers. So I create programs for them and I'll record. Well, when you're at the building, you see all of these trainers that are like in Iceland and Japan and Norway and all these really cool destinations. And I was like, I want to do that, because I'd only been in the studio. So I came home and I was like, emailed, my contact. And I was like, I don't know who I need to talk to, but I have this really great idea for a mindfulness, like meditation series, incorporating this and this and this. And I had this idea, and I was like, I would love to go to Bali and make this happen. Like, I want to go meditate under a waterfall in Bali, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my gosh. That sounds amazing.
So I came down, like, I was staying in Utah for that shoot, and I came down to my mom and I was like, Mom, mark my words, I will be traveling with iFit by next year. I'm going to be one of the POV trainers, and I'm going to be traveling. And I'm like, either Greece, Italy, or Bali. And I was like, and I am going to make this happen. And she's a big believer in it too. She's just like, okay, honey, manifest it,
I love it.
So yeah. So 6 months later, I get a call from iFit. Hey, we have this really cool idea. We want you to do a mindfulness series. And they had never even seen the email that I had sent. They didn't even see it. One of the girls had seen it, but the boss who was pitching this to me never even saw that email.
Wow.
And he's like, we're just wondering, like, would you be available to maybe travel to like Bali or something? And I just started laughing. And I was like, yeah, I manifested this. I told him that. I'm like, I manifested this 6 months ago and it's happening.
Wow. Oh, I am like grinning ear to ear. That is so cool.
So anyway, stuff like that happens all the time because I believe it will. Like, I believe it will. You know how some people are like, I'm so unlucky. You know how people are like, that stuff never happens to me. I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm the luckiest person ever. Everything always works out for me. Like, and I'm like, if I have an idea, I'm going to attract the opportunities to come to me. I'm going to attract this business person to contact me because I think that we'll work well together. And they'll email me. I'm not kidding. It's really crazy.
Wow. So, I think I need to do some more visualizations. I have had moments like that in my life as well. And I'm curious, when you're making your visualization, do you actually have a physical board where you cut out pictures and like paste it on a poster and like look at it? Or what does that look like for you? Is it more writing it down?
Yeah, it's actually both. So my husband, he's so cute. He like has his laminated.
Cute.
Adam like wakes up at 5 a.m. He's better than me. He wakes up at 5 a.m. and he meditates on his visionary board for like 15 minutes every single day, every single morning. He looks at the pictures. He envisions like, this is what it's going to feel like when I get it. He acts as if he's already gotten it. He thinks like, he thanks the universe and God for creating the opportunities, and he knows it's already happening. Like that's the real, like, it's a lot of work, like we can't just wish for it.
Sure.
Like we work really hard for it, but it's believing that it will actually happen. So we do that. I meditate on it. I'm writing it down. I talk about it a lot too. I'll talk about it in conversation. Like, hey, I'm starting this new online training business. I think this is what's going to be really cool. And here's the people I'm going to attract. And this is how I'm going to make it happen. And I talk about it all the time.
I think that there's so much power in that though, because before something becomes an action or actually comes to fruition, everything starts as a thought.
Everything.
And so it's like, if we're not even allowing our minds and our visions and that attraction to come to us with our thoughts, then what do you have? Nothing. It won't ever come. So, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I'm getting fired up about more, taking that piece more, because I feel like there is so much power within us and so much goodness that's available for everyone. It's not limited. There's so much abundance. And everyone that's listening, there's abundance for you. There is abundance
for everyone.
For whatever it is that you're wishing for or wanting. It is there. Like it will be provided, but a lot of times we need to ask for it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I truly believe that if it's your calling and it's something that you're so passionate about, like this might sound weird to some people, but I believe that our ancestors are helping us all the time.
I do too.
And
totally on board. Yeah.
And I'll ask my ancestors, I'll be like, can you please help me with this? Can you, and I feel like I'm not alone. Like, I feel like I'm being helped on my mission here on earth and like my journey. And I know this is getting deep, but like, that's what pushes you when you want to quit. Like when it gets too hard and I'm exhausted, I'm like, I need help. And I feel like I'm not alone. And it's like really cool to ask your ancestors and your angels and God, if you're religious, or your higher self, whatever you believe in, you're not alone. Like there are people around you that you can't see that are helping you. So I truly believe that if your intentions are pure and you're helping people, I truly believe that.
Yeah, I do too. Now, taking it back to with your kids, I know that health and fitness with your kids and being connected with them is really important to you. You're an amazing mother. What are some ways that you've created a priority for that? We've talked about time blocking with them, but are there certain rituals or things that you do together? I see you working out with your kids. I love seeing that. Tell me about more of those things that you do with your family.
Yeah, I love working out with my kids. I love teaching them to be strong and healthy. Like Liv will never hear me say that I want to be skinnier or that, my stomach's hanging over my pants. Like she will never hear that because it's so damaging. And so I'm very consciously aware of being like, look how powerful our legs are. Doesn't that feel good to get air inside of our lungs? Don't you feel really happy right now when you're moving your body? And I focus on all of those things that like have nothing to do with body image. It's more confidence and what you can do with your body. And so I try to focus on that. We try to do something physical every day because just my kids are crazy. They're psycho. They like have so much energy. So like we need to go get out. But I also have cabin fever if I'm in my house all day. So I have to get out every day anyway. So anyway, we love to move our bodies. If you follow me, I love to cook. I love to cook really good meals for my family. And I love to have dinner time. So I make sure that is something where we're all sitting down at the table together. We're talking about our day. And sometimes it's crazy. Sometimes the baby's walking on the table, or like Jameson's throwing a fit. Like it's not always pretty, but I make it a habit that we sit down together for dinner at night. It's really important to me. And I don't make my kids separate meals. My kids, like they know, like this is what we're eating. It's zucchini and it's, peppers and onions and broccoli, and they don't get another option. So I will not make like, one thing that is hard for me is when I see people make really healthy meals for themselves. And then they give their kids like Pop-Tarts, mac and cheese, Fruit Loops. And I'm like, this is the most important time in their life for brain development. And we're feeding them all of the pesticides and the GMO foods and the dyes and the sugar. And I never, ever, ever want a mom to feel bad, because I understand it's hard. It's hard. It's so hard. I never want a mom to feel bad. I just want to teach and educate and show her it's just as easy to make oatmeal as it is sugar cereal. It's just as easy, and whatever you teach them young is how their eating habits are going to be when they grow up. So my mom, I was lucky because my mom, she'd give us flaxseed oatmeal for breakfast. We had to drink a protein shake every day after school. We'd get sugar cereal for Christmas because we never got it. So I was raised that way. And so then when I went to college, I was like, oh my gosh, I can get whatever sugar cereal I want. I went and I bought Lucky Charms. I bought Reese's Puffs. I felt sick to my stomach and I never bought it again. I went back and I got my oatmeal, I got my eggs. I had the foundation and I knew that it made me feel good. And so I'm always constantly teaching my kids, what do green foods do? I try to make it fun. So if Jameson is throwing a fit, I'm like, Jameson, what do green foods do for you? And he knows they make you faster. What do orange foods do for you? And they help you see better. So I'll tell him they help you see in the dark. So I'd be like, they help you see in the dark. And we'll play hide and go seek in the dark. So I'd be like, let's eat our orange vegetables so you can see in the dark better,
Nice. Yeah.
Or I just make it fun for them, or they know protein. I'll be like, meat makes you get big muscles like dad. See, when you wrestle dad, you're going to win, I just do things like that. And now that's what so Jameson's like, oh, I have to go to jujitsu, mom. Can I have an egg? He'll say things like that. Cause he's like, I need to fuel myself. So It's just teaching them the knowledge. I'm giving very long answers. I'm sorry.
No, are you kidding me? This is gold. I'm sure that everyone that's listening, because I know there are times we drink protein shakes in this house, and we also have sugary cereal. And it's interesting because my kids all have different preferences where they're not all the same. My youngest right now will tell you that salad is his favorite meal, but that is not how it was for the other three, And so I feel like these foundational, the way that we're talking to our children about food and what it does as fuel rather than a reward versus punishment cycle, I think that there's much power that comes with talking about what good food can do for your body. So I think that's amazing.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, we eat sugar. We just made a whole thing of cupcakes last night. I just teach them eat one cupcake or your stomach's going to hurt, that will make you have a really bad headache. Your stomach's going to hurt. So maybe let's just eat one, that's how it, and we still have sugar. We'll go out and get ice cream and stuff like that. It's just trying to make sure they get the nutrients in. So
yeah, no, that's so smart. I love it. And I think one thing that I try to remember to say to my kids too, is to listen to your body. And they might want that second cookie, but I'll say, check in first. How does your tummy feel? Do you think it might make you sick? And just the other day, my son was like, I don't want any more. My tummy's telling me no. And I was so proud of him. I was like, yeah, that's what you need to listen to your body that way. And I'm curious, do you have a cookbook for families, family-friendly foods? Or if you don't, I think you should, because I think that that's something that could be so beneficial.
I would love to do a cookbook. I've actually thought about it a lot. It's a ton of work. So
it is. I've done it, so I know. Yeah.
Well, then maybe I'll just use yours.
No.
I'll use your family cookbook.
Well, yeah, I want to see yours. We can swap.
I love to cook, but I think that's not what I'm really best at. I'm not good at creating recipes, but I love to cook. So I love to use Lily Loves Macros cookbook. Hers is great because I love cooking, but still tracking macros. And so she makes it easy with families, and they're really good meals. My family eats all of them. But I want to try your cookbook. I would love to do that.
Okay. Well, I'll send you some. I think a lot of My Mommy Style, the website is filled with recipes.
Yay.
And so, but they're not all perfectly macro friendly. I love Elise's macro meals because she has I love that
those
it's
are
just all
fun.
laid out. I feel like I'm still a beginner with macros where it comes to that. And so learning from you and Elise, and we'll link your resources below because we have all of these where you can join with your program and also your supplements. And man, your protein is so clean tasting. I think your vanilla is the best I've had, just mixed with like almond milk. Like it just tastes like it tastes like vanilla ice cream to me. Like I think it's so good.
I know. I actually I will pay you your money back if you don't like it. That's how confident I am, because I think in the 2 years that my protein's been out, I have refunded 2 people.
Wow. And tell me, we need to dig into that just a little bit. How were you able to find the right people to create your supplements and your protein?
Well, I had this supplement company actually approach me, which is funny because that's, again, law of attraction. I had prayed about and meditated on who would be the best company for me. And they approached me, and it just worked. Like I told them everything I wanted. I said, I want to make a protein from scratch. I don't want a white label crap. I want to do it from scratch. And this is everything I want in it. And I was like, I want it to be organic, New Zealand grass fed. I want digestive enzymes. I want probiotics. I don't want any fillers. I don't want any artificial sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. And they're like, okay, this is going to be really hard. I'm sure they thought I was the pickiest person, but I'm like, and it has to taste amazing.
Yeah. And isn't it gluten-free? I know that people, because I can't remember who it was I saw talking about it, but they were saying that it was the only protein that was really good on their stomach where they're gluten intolerant and have different sensitivities like that. And man, that's quite the compliment with everything that's on the shelves.
Well, and I'm also lactose intolerant. So I was like, I need it to be low lactose. And they're like, okay, add it to the list. I was very picky. And I actually have a third. So even when they sent it to me, I took it to a third party. I have this holistic doctor because I don't want any traces of heavy metals or toxins or parabens or sulfates or anything. I mean, sulfates wouldn't be in a protein, but I'm just saying any traces of anything. And I took it to have her test it. And she was like, this is the cleanest protein product I've ever seen. And I was like, yeah, because I was so picky. So I'm just so proud of it. And I also took my greens to her, because a lot of greens, people don't realize that they're GMO crops. And so they get sprayed with pesticides. Then they take those greens, they grind it up, and you're drinking the pesticides. Ooh. And so, so I took my greens to her to make sure. She's like, there's no pesticides. It's so clean. I took my fish oils because you can have mercury in fish oil. It can be from a salmon farm that's full of bacteria. I just want the cleanest product, and ours is a wild caught Alaskan salmon. And she tested it. She's like, can I actually sell your products here? Because I want to give them to all of my clients. And I'm like, yeah, because they're so clean. Same with the digestive enzyme. She's like, this digestive enzyme is way better than the one that I've been even promoting. So I'm just super passionate about making sure it's clean, because it's what I would want to put in my body. Yeah.
Well, man, I am so proud of you and proud to be an affiliate. So if you are listening to this now and thinking, I need to try this out, we will have the links below with a discount. And I'm telling you, I'm really excited about trying the digestive enzyme. I haven't started it yet. I'm hoping
you will love it.
Yes. Well, with COVID and everything going on, I feel like my tummy has been affected more than anything else in a way. So I'm really, really thrilled to try that, because I know that so much of our mental clarity and health comes from our gut. So,
well, and I do want to say we're coming out with a probiotic, hopefully next week.
Oh, so that will be out by the time this airs for sure.
Yes,
that's so cool.
The probiotics is going to be the best for your gut health, which is connected to your serotonin, your feel-good levels, which helps with anxiety, depression, your skin, mood swings, brain fog, all of that, bloating, everything, the probiotic. And not all probiotics are created equal. So make sure to go look at it. It's an amazing, an amazing product.
Well, you are amazing. I am just proud to be your friend and so grateful that you came on the show today.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. If you liked the content and want to hear more, remember to hit that subscribe button and write a review. As a small business owner, I appreciate it more than you know. If you are looking for a program to help with self-confidence, to lose weight, get in shape, and work on your mental, physical, and emotional health, check out my training programs on www.bodybybree.com. My team and I help to hold you accountable through the Body by Bree app, where you log in to see all your workouts, custom meal plan made specifically for you and your needs, and communication through the messenger. You are never alone when you're on the Body by Bree training program. Click the link in the show notes to get more information on how to transform your life from the inside out.